Mr. Vice President, do you have an announcement to make? Is this an audition? Is there, what is the reason that you decided it's time for me to get on TV with Stacey Abrams?
Stacey knows what she's doing, and she's an incredibly capable person.
After losing the governor's race by less than 1.5 points to Republican Brian Kemp, Abrams initially refused to concede, accusing Kemp, who had been the Georgia Secretary of State, of promoting several measures that suppressed minority votes. Abrams still refers to the election loss as her moment of darkness.
But she's facing stiff competition with at least a dozen other VP contenders, including Biden's fellow Obama administration alum Susan Rice, who signaled her interest this week.
You have Stacey Abrams, who has repeatedly lied about losing the Georgia gubernatorial race when she lost by 55,000 votes, who still hasn't conceded, and who, even worse, launched a group Fair Fight off of the lie of voter suppression to keep her name in politics and to keep her going.
I think Vice President Biden is going to make a smart choice, and I appreciate the fact that he has lifted up women as being a necessary partner in this. Black women are the strongest part of the Democratic Party, the most loyal, but that loyalty isn't simply how we vote, it's how we work. And if we want to signal that that work will continue, that we're going to reach not just to certain segments of our community, but to the entire country, then we need a ticket that reflects the diversity of America. Vice President Joe Biden is going to pick the person that best suits him. He has an extraordinary team around him, and more importantly, he knows what he needs because he's done the job. I leave it to him to make his choice, and I can't decide which questions I'm going to get from fantastic journalists like yourself and others. My only obligation and my only opportunity is to be as forthright and clear as I can, and that is to say, yes, I'm qualified and ready. The issue is, as a woman of color, especially as a black woman, this is an unusual position to be in for someone to be considered possibly the next vice president. And it would be doing a disservice to every woman of color, every woman of ambition, every child who wants to think beyond their known space for me to say no.
Is there a preference? Because we saw Stacey Abrams sort of looking like an audition last night. There's a lot of talk about Elizabeth Warren being a very popular pick for a lot of people, including some black people. There's a lot of talk about Kamala Harris. Do people have a preference, or is it just that he's making that statement that black women are important enough to reward with this position?
And I have to say, this talk about Vice President Amy Klobuchar does feel like a slap in the face to the black voters who came out overwhelmingly to support this ticket.
One of the questions likely will be, is this woman comfortable continuing to defend Joe Biden in the face of these allegations and maybe in the face of any other allegations? Of course, there aren't any now, and there's no evidence that there might be any more in the future. But if you're a woman about to be the vice presidential pick of Joe Biden, in the back of your mind, you're probably thinking, I have to make sure that I also am very, very comfortable defending Joe Biden.